gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I am your host, Adam Portress, and I'm joined by Sweet Sean Kovacs from the internet.
That's a big lizard.
And of course, Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and hollow earth theories annoy me.
Oh,
Man alive.
I listen. I am all aboard for all of this this absolute and utter nonsense. It's more fun than Flat Earth. I'll tell you that at least. At least there's like some crazy in between world and stuff, and we're not playing like the world is flat or some such nonsense like that. But we are back, everybody, and today we are talking about Godzilla versus Kong. And let me tell you, not only are we back, the box office is back too, man. In a kind of a, we're starting to get there post-pandemic world. We're almost pretty short, but get this: Godzilla versus Kong, $48 million at the box office this weekend in the US of A. That's pretty darn good.
And it had like 120 million international before it was even released in the US.
It's getting up there, man. And I went to see it in an IMAX on a Thursday at 2 p.m. It was obviously socially distanced and everything, so everybody was all spread out, but it was as packed as a socially distanced movie could possibly get, man. I think the movies are back on at this point. We were looking for an excuse, and looks like, at least according to the numbers, it's been happening. And even they said HBO has said that it's made more than, or it's been viewed more than Wonder Woman 84. So people are digging it all. Let's see if we dig all that kind of good stuff. But before we do want to say a big giant thank you. It's the top of the month here to our Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/HMP. You guys know the game: pre-show, post-show, dinger zone, all that kind of good stuff. Coming again and again and again at the icon level this month. We got Tim the Long Hauler and Sir Derek the Night Bard. These boys are just coming in. By the way, guys, if you want to plug anything on this show, let us know.
Yes, please let us say thank you more than just saying thank you.
Because, man, oh, man, you guys have really been killing it month after month. And I was always just like, well, that'll certainly, oh, no, again? Wow. And,
or maybe suggest something for us to watch.
Yeah, that's...
we would happily take an assignment within reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah, within reason.
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 things that we'll say no to, but by and large, just about anything else. So please do that. We certainly can't forget people that are coming in at the executive producer level. We got Brian, a.k.a. Curvaceous, Spider Z, Alex, and, of course, Matt Schnapp, whose HMP nickname is Matt Schnapp. He won't accept anything else. All coming in at that executive producer level there. And of course, we do that. Everyone else that comes in below $20, the $5 level is obviously the strong backbone of this show, and we want to tell you all that every little bit of it helps. No matter the size of your support, you all get all the Patreon bonuses up there. So those little levels and stuff, those are all antiquated. Everybody gets everything. So over at HMP, we have adopted that value for value method support of this show that's created by the podfather himself, Adam Curry. What that means is whatever value that you get out of this show, put that into a dollar form as it's meaningful to you and the value that you receive from this show week after week. If next Monday you checked your phone for the latest HMP and it wasn't there, what would you do to make sure that that didn't disappear? And it keeps coming to you week after week. And at the same time, you get yourself even more content. Patreon.com/HMP. Big thanks to all you guys. We appreciate it.
We did a lot, yes, and we did a lot of this, in 2020. We watched all of the godforsaken Fast and the Furious movies. we watched all of the Matrix. We watched all of the Mission Impossible movies. But I want to say we did something else too, but I don't.
We can't prove it, but we watched RoboCop.
Oh, that's right, RoboCop.
We'll eventually get back to that one. Don't. Oh, it still stings a little bit inside.
Well, man, like I told you at the time. Like, look, it's fine. It's okay.
But it gives us another excuse to watch RoboCop and again, but not to spoil that review. We like RoboCop. It's a good movie. And I changed some opinions on RoboCop. So at some point we'll cover that one again. Pardon me. But this week we are doing Godzilla here, or Godzilla versus Kong. I want to say it all correctly. Here's the trailer for Godzilla versus Kong.
This is our only chance. We have to take it. world needs him to stop what's coming. And this child, she's the only one he'll communicate with.
I knew that they had a bond. She had nowhere to go, so I made a promise to protect her. And I think that in some way, Kong did the same. It's Godzilla.
Alrighty, that was from the trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong, our new release review of this week. Here's the IMDb plotline. As we know, IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do. The epic next chapter in the cinematic monsterverse pits two of the greatest icons in motion picture history against one another, the fearsome Godzilla and the mighty Kong, with humanity caught in the balance. It is, of course, starring Alexander Skarsgård, Millie Bobby Brown, Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, Kaylee Hotel, Kyle Chandler, and, of course, directed by Adam Wingard. But before we get into this here movie proper, you know what time it is.
It's time for Bruce's Comic Book Connection.
Bruce, Godzilla, comic books. What do we got?
Well, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, is a comic book that Marvel published from 1977 to 1979, with a total of 24 issues. And I'd argue that it belongs right up there with Star Wars, G.I. Joe, and Micronauts for most important licensed comics Marvel published during the Bronze Age. It was written by Doug Minch, drawn by Herb Trimpe, and took place in the mainstream Marvel universe. In the comic run, Godzilla pops out of an iceberg, Captain America style, just outside Alaska and destroys his way across North America en route to New York City. Marvel's contract with Toho permitted them to have the comic rights to Godzilla, but they didn't have rights to any of the other Toho monsters like Mini Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, Anguirus, King Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla, etc. So this made it kind of weird trying to do a decent Godzilla comic. This version of Godzilla, while intelligent, is not the protector of mankind. However, he does at times exhibit compassion for human characters, such as Dum Dum Dugan. Robert Little Rob Takaguchi regards Godzilla as a hero and is depicted as being Godzilla's only human friend, because every giant lizard needs at least one human friend. In perhaps the greatest comic book monster matchup of all time, Godzilla faces off against Devil Dinosaur. And I haven't read the issue, but I'm assuming the fight ended up in a draw, because how else do you resolve that battle? Godzilla also crossed paths with the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, but come on, it's Devil Dinosaur that people care about. In order to keep a steady flow of oversized monsters for Godzilla to fight, Marvel Comics created a character called Dr. Demonicus, whose shtick was creating giant monsters, creatures with names like Batragon, Gilaron, and Leporax. In issue 11, Godzilla had a three-way in the Grand Canyon with Red Ronin and Yetragar. That's a three-way battle. I meant to say a three-way battle. If I just say a three-way, people think I'm talking about Skyline Chili, and I don't want to confuse anybody. Now, in 1979, Marvel's Godzilla license expired, but they didn't let that stop them from putting Godzilla in their comics. Someone realized that as long as you don't call Godzilla by name, you can use him as long as you want, you know? So in Iron Man number 193, Dr. Demonicus captures, mentally controls, and mutates Godzilla further so that he no longer resembles the copyright namesake. This altered version of the monster would return in number 194 and 196, and his last appearance was in The Thing number 31, where he's actually referred to as Godzilla. Although it's not known if the person saying this actually knows that he is Godzilla, or if this is just an example of the name possibly being used to refer to any big green dinosaur. Now, this groundbreaking workaround in IP law emboldened folks and blazed the trail that I'm sure leads directly to Dwayne Johnson's classic film Rampage. In 2006, Marvel reprinted the entire 24-issue run of Godzilla King of the Monsters as a trade paperback called Essential Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is pretty cool because not all licensed comics get this treatment. I think the last Godzilla comics I bought were published by IDW and was probably close to 7 years ago, so I don't know if the license is still with IDW or if any comics at all are pushing Godzilla these days. You'd think with Warner Brothers and DC both being part of AT&T, they'd want DC to have the license to promote some tie-in comics for their shaky film franchise, but things don't always work the way you'd think. So what are your favorite Godzilla comics? Let me know down in the comments. Wait, this is the podcast. Sorry, I don't have to say that part.
How dare you? No.
Ring the bell.
Smash that like button.
But if you do want to review us on iTunes or any of the other places, please do that. That helps get things going, maybe. I don't know. That's what they say. But, man, yeah, this is the third in the kind of recent Godzilla, and now we're tying in King Kong, of course, with all this
so it's
sort
the
of
fourth
stuff.
movie.
Fourth, really.
Yeah, technically with that one. But what were you guys' thoughts with the previous films before we get to Godzilla versus Kong?
In retrospect, I like the Godzilla from a few years ago, the one that's just Godzilla.
The King of the Monsters?
No, the one before that.
Oh, the
one with Elizabeth Olsen.
Right. I mean, the interpersonal stuff, everybody complains about how ridiculous that is. But the thing that I like about it is that it's all basically shot from ground level so that you really get a sense of just how large Godzilla is.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to see. And they start getting away from that more and more with King of the Monsters and now with Kong, Godzilla v. Kong. And I really liked Kong Skull Island. I did not expect to like it at all because I hated Peter Jackson's King Kong. It's 3 movies long, that movie. It's ridiculous.
I like that movie, but you're also not wrong. That is a giant long-ass movie.
It's so long, and the middle movie is the one that everybody likes, but no one cares about the beginning. The end falls flat, but the middle of that movie is what everybody likes about that movie. But I can't stand it. Kong Skull Island is so fun and so dumb, and it knows what it is, that I really enjoyed it. And I grew up not being a King Kong fan. I loved Godzilla as a little kid, but there wasn't a whole lot of King Kong to latch on to. Like you had like the 70s King Kong, which is not a good movie. and then there's the one from the 40s that it feels like the oldest movie in the world when you're 7 years old. Yeah. But Godzilla was awesome.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of obviously the original, King Kong and everything, and Godzilla. Like I'd only ever seen the American Godzilla, the Americanized version, with what's his face? I can't even remember.
Raymond Burr.
Raymond Burr. That's it.
Yeah, as a kid, I was a huge Raymond Burr fan, so I always check that movie out.
Huge Raymond Burr fan as a child, he was. That's what kind of childhood Bruce Leslie
stupid
had.
Monster. I need more Perry Mason.
But
do you concur?
I saw the I saw the Japanese one actually for the first time this year, and really liked it. It's like, so that's what they were really trying to say instead of this horrible. I don't say it's horrible Americanized version, but like it's not needed, and it's so much better. And boy, oh boy, Criterion put that out, and they have done such a spectacular job with the restoration and everything. Boy, that thing looks nice. The 2016 Godzilla, it was fair enough for me, but I'm in the same camp, guys. For me, Kong Skull Island was really fantastic. I did like Godzilla King of the Monsters, the last Godzilla movie before this one, and I'm not going to lie to you, part of that was definitely had a little bit of a bonus in there because I saw it in 4DX, and man, I wish the 4DX theater here was open for this flick, because boy, oh boy, is that the way to experience something like this with, all the fog going off and rain and all kinds of crazy, the wind and stuff. That was so amazing. Whenever this movie, the 4DX here comes out, boy, do I hope they put this sucker in there, because I'll definitely go see it again, because that's like a 2-hour amusement park ride. It's super fun. But yeah, I was looking forward to this one. It's interesting that we've got director Adam Wingard directing this one. Are you guys familiar with him at all, or any of his previous work?
Just a little bit. I looked up his bio. I noticed that you and he are alums of the same university.
Yeah, we're actually the same age and everything. He certainly wasn't there when I was, but it's funny. He's like in 2011, he had this movie come out. I think Sundance was its premiere, called You're Next. It was just gigantic. People loved it. There was like this giant bidding war, and something happened where it just got caught up in a whole bunch of junk, and it couldn't come out for like several years. I forget exactly how long it was, but like you saw this trailer and it was like, oh my Lord, this looks amazing. And then you just never saw it forever and ever. And so he kind of came on and did segments in the VHS series that's kind of like an anthology. He did a couple of those and an ABCs of Death, which is pretty good. Then Your Next came out and really kind of blew up his career and everything. In 2016, he got the Blair Witch remake. Well, it's not remake, it's kind of a sequel.
You just skipped over his finest movie.
The Guest?
The Guest is amazing.
I figured most people probably hadn't seen The Guest, but yes, it is good.
I don't know this movie at all.
It's with Dan Stevens, the guy.
Oh, I like Dan Stevens. Yeah, he's Charles Dickens. Everybody knows him as Charles Dickens.
Of course.
Well, yes, from this show specifically, everyone would know him from that. And that was one of the things that I kept thinking about while watching Godzilla versus Kong, is that lead character. Can't you totally see Dan Stevens as that guy? As the guy that's played by Skarsgård?
Okay, when you said the lead character, I'm picturing, is that Godzilla or Kong? But I think he can play both parts.
Well,
that guy's got range.
And that's one of the things about this movie, about Godzilla versus Kong, is that like not only are the humans basically not an entity at all, which is great because you don't want that. The thing about Godzilla King of the Monsters is that there's about like half of that movie is about a couple who are separated.
No, you've got these movies mixed up in your brain, because that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. The first Godzilla one that we're talking about in this new MonsterVerse. That's the one where it was pretty much all just about like Scarlet
Aaron
Witch
Taylor
and her brother
Johnson trying to get back to
But that's not what I don't mean physically separated. I mean,
you're talking about
they're having marital problems.
Yes, Millie Bobby Brown's parents in the second one, I think, is what Sean's talking about.
Okay, yes. I got you.
And no one cares. It's the most ridiculous thing. Like, why do you keep cutting back to that when there's Godzilla in the other storyline? And so they completely cut all that away, and that's fine.
We've got Mothra for crying out loud.
But when you do that, like they have in this movie, I cannot tell you a single character's name.
Yeah.
No, not in this one.
Right. Just the simple fact that we're referring to the character as Millie Bobby Brown, which might have happened anyway, but just the simple fact that that's what we're calling her instead of, and this is her third movie of Godzilla? Second movie.
It's her second one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the simple fact that we don't know who her character name is. We don't know Coach Taylor's real name. Like, we don't know anybody's like Paperboy from Atlanta. I don't know what his character's name is in this movie.
Russell from Deadpool 2.
Russell from Deadpool 2, or the kid from Hunt for the Wilder People, which is how he got his start in the first place. That kid's in it. Like, there not a single character name I could tell you. And you know what? It doesn't matter. Because it's about an ape and a lizard and Middle Earth. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
The closest to a human character that I remember as a human like character that kind of mattered a little bit is the adorable girl who is mute or maybe even deaf. I don't know, but I'm sure her character has a name that I didn't pick up.
Also, don't forget about Hispanic Elon Musk.
Yes.
I call him the most interesting guy in the world or whatever. That's what I was calling him.
But yeah, that little girl, Gia, I believe is the character's name. Kaylee Hotel. I don't know. It's Hottle. Hotley. I don't know. Anyways, she is actually deaf, and weirdly, she's and I read this, 4th generation deaf.
Huh.
Oh, I thought you were going to say weirdly, she's 21 years
She's
old.
21 years old, but just a tiny little gal. But no, I just thought that was interesting. But man, oh man, that little girl is fantastic. And honestly, I think she's kind of the glue that holds this whole thing together. She gives an amazing performance for that little girl. Are you kidding? What do you want?
You take the girl out of it, this movie's no good, Sean. You know that.
I'm not.
But that's the character. That's not the actress.
I'm seriously just grinding gears here. I thought she was sweet and it was nice, but yeah, I don't know. I think the glue that held it together was that big fancy hatchet that
I think what okay, all right, let me rephrase then. Okay, I'll rephrase. As far as the human component is concerned, is that fair enough?
Sure.
She's the one human character that we kind of give a crap about.
She is the best human character, yeah.
That was more my point.
Because
I'm sorry that I
influences the plot. She communicates with Kong and gets him to do stuff. Nobody else, no other human character really matters, but she does kind of matter.
That was essentially my point. I'm sorry if I meant that this girl is more important than Kong or Godzilla. That was not my intention.
The main character of this movie is King Kong. Yes.
That's what I was kind of shocked about, is that the whole movie starts with Kong, and we are with Kong, I would say a good, what do you want to say, 60, 70% of this movie?
Now, I don't know what the box office showed, but I think just from like a creative standpoint, you look at the three movies leading into this, and the best of the bunch is the Kong movie. So I think it's smart to frame it around Kong. I mean, Godzilla is almost just like a force of nature here, very different from in the Godzilla movies. He's an aggressor. I guess they try to give us I think what I'm taking away from it is what they were trying to do is make Millie Bobby Brown's character sort of Godzilla's version of what the deaf girl was for Kong, but they don't sell it with the story.
And also maybe I'm getting it wrong here, but what Godzilla's basically doing is every time they turn on the machine for Mechagodzilla, every time Latino Elon Musk turns on the machine to try to make Mechagodzilla work, that fires off Godzilla to try to take out that building, right? Is that what I'm getting right?
That's what I thought was going on.
Okay.
Like Godzilla is, I don't know, he's like that automatic robot that cleans the dirt off the bottom of your pool. Like if there's a dirty spot, it just heads for it. But Godzilla does that with monsters.
Oh, and not
that's an excellent analogy.
Not to say that this is one of these types of movies, but if you're new to the podcast and everything, we do spoil everything at this point. So
Yeah, we've already spoiled the guest and that Charles Dickens
because I'm gonna.
I haven't spoiled the guest. I haven't told you what happens at the end of that movie.
You find out he's Charles Dickens. I mean, you spoil both movies at once that way.
Have you guys? So, like, one of the things that I've noticed with this movie, who wins in Godzilla versus Kong? Who would you call the winner?
Us,
humanity.
we're the viewing audience to me is the winner for all of this because
strong disagree. We'll get to that later.
All right.
Well, I think that they do show Godzilla to be stronger, which is kind of
sure.
I mean, that's kind of what you got to do. I think a lot of anticipatory criticism was that it's just not really a fair matchup, but they're going to try to make it seem like either it is or that Kong's stronger. Like a lot of people anticipated that, but I think they played it right there in terms of the battle. But also, I think if you've ever seen a crowd pleaser movie or a movie that's attempting to be a crowd pleaser, you know they're going to end up teaming up to fight the bad guy.
Of course.
Now I didn't. Now I watched zero trailers for this. From what I was told, Mechagodzilla was spoiled within the trailers itself and stuff. I had no clue going in, and I was
I didn't either.
Flying blind.
I didn't know that Mechagodzilla would be what united them, but I kind of knew. All right, this is going to be like Batman v Superman. You know, they're going to fight for a while, and then they're going to have to team up to beat Doomsday. And I didn't know that it would be Mechagodzilla, but you know, your own brother knew this was coming at him.
Yeah, no, he did it but the funny part is to me is when we see Mechagodzilla, you know right away, I know exactly where this is going to go. I know every single beat of the rest of this story, and boy, if you don't even care, you're just like you are on board and ready to go for the ride.
Well, and here is my point to this movie. Because I can clearly feel it coming off of you specifically, Adam. You just love this movie. I can tell. And that's great. I'm glad that you do. And Bruce, you're probably like 75% of the way there with this movie, right?
I'm above 50. I don't know if I'm at 75, but for the most part, I'm just like, yeah, it didn't suck.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm happy that it didn't.
Because here is my thing with this movie. You know how what seemed to make you most angry about Zack Snyder's Justice League, Adam, was that you felt like the rest of the world loved that movie, but you didn't.
Yeah, it's certainly something that perplexed me. Yes.
Yes, but now in the harsh light of day, you can see that not everybody loves Zack Snyder's Justice League. For me, this has happened since basically the mid-90s, where movies come out that are just so stupid. And make no mistake about it, Godzilla versus Kong is a stupid movie, and that's fine. Like, that's kind of what it is, and it knows that it's that, and that's what they play to, and that's fine. But the first example of this for me was the first time I saw the movie Twister. Twister is a terrible, awful, dumb movie. And yet everyone seemed to love it except for me. And it made me so upset because I was like, guys, the bad guys drive black vans. Or like, guys, he's going after the same Twister that killed his father.
That's it. That's the best part.
Like, why are we heralding this movie as a triumph of cinema? And then it happened the next year with Independence Day. Independence Day is a awful, terrible movie. What everybody loves about that movie is that Will Smith is in it and Jeff Goldblum's in it, and sometimes Randy Quaid before everybody.
Yeah.
Pullman gives one of the best rally speeches in all of cinema history. It's so good.
Sure, but that movie is god awful. Basically, what that movie is telling you is that alien technology is Mac compatible.
It's at least Mac hackable for sure.
Yeah.
And that movie's awful. Now, well, of course, because it is also in that range of movies during a time where you are a kid.
Like, I was like 13 when that movie came out, so it was perfect. Yeah.
Fastball for Adam Portress. But like now we smash cut to open on Godzilla versus Kong. And this is another one of those movies for me where this movie is ridiculous. This movie is stupid. Again and again and again, things happen. Like, I'll tell you when I was completely out on this movie. King Kong dislocates his shoulder.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
man.
That's so good.
That's my favorite bit from Lethal Weapon.
And he relocates his shoulder by smashing it against a skyscraper. And that was it for me. I was like, good. You know what? I'm done now. Me in this movie, laser axe for King Kong, sure. Earth is hollow and there's a whole world under there where there's floating blue crystals. Absolutely. But the second that he relocates his shoulder on that skyscraper, I was like, you know what, guys? F you too. As I'm watching this movie. F you too, I thought to myself. And so, like, look, this movie is fine. This movie is not something where I'm like, where I hate it. I don't hate this movie. It's enjoyable. But this movie is terrible. It's an awful movie that people are going to like. That's what this movie is.
But I really think people are just going to like it. I don't know that people are going to love it. And that makes me accept it a little bit better too. Like, I'm not going to have a bunch of people that feels very, very differently than me about its value. Like, I mean, come on, enough people in the world. There's always going to be that weird person out there that thinks this is the ultimate pinnacle of cinematic accomplishment. But for the most part, people are going to be like, yeah, it's kind of stupid. I didn't like this, but big monsters got to fight 3 times. That was cool. And I'm like, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and that's honestly, that is the biggest consensus that I've seen from people about this is everyone, they start with, They start with, this movie is dumb. This movie is stupid. The characters are practically non-existent. Like you said, we don't know anyone's name. We barely know what anybody's looking at. But yet, every single one of them has magic coming out of their fingers. All you have to do is look at something. You know exactly what it is, exactly what it does, all the bullcrap. And it's just to get you to that next point. But everybody goes, as dumb and stupid and ridiculous as all of this absolutely 100% is, boy, does it deliver on the title of Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes, for sure.
Yes. And I know that this dislocated shoulder thing is stupid, but I like the kind of stupid I could roll with. Like the Hollow Earth thing annoyed the heck out of me. But like when he dislocated his shoulder, I was like, okay, that's so bad it's good right there. Like I would have thought it was awesome if King Kong had like grabbed a suspension bridge and a commercial airliner and turned it into a bow and arrow and shot King Kong from across the city. Like you can't get too stupid with the monster fighting for me. Like I like that self-awareness that this is stupid. It's the Hollow Earth stuff for some reason just annoyed the crap out of me because it didn't have to be that. You could have done everything on Skull Island that you did on the Hollow Earth.
Oh, but see, I disagree. Like I like the stupidness of all that. I love even more the fact that everyone takes it. It's number one, it's a ridiculous conspiracy theory that no one believes in, yet we are willing to throw all this money in it. This rich guy is like, no, I believe this stuff. Let's go ahead and do it. And everything happens so fast and so quickly. No one really has to convince anybody. No, I promise you, this is a real thing. We just have to check. It's just called, I've got enough money and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get to this crazy, in-between world. It's just so dumb, but I love that. I love how dumb it is, how much everyone just nods their head in agreement with everything that goes along. The fact that these people take a small I understand that she's got a connection to Kong, but they take a small child with them.
Yes, on the world's most dangerous mission.
Hair-raising adventures going, we're going to have 1,000 G's and our bodies are going to feel like they're turning inside out. Let's bring this small child along. That sounds like a great plan. Can you pilot this ship, guy who's a scientist and wrote a book that nobody read? I feel like you could pilot this ship. Because why not? And then
why is Lance Reddick in this movie?
Why is Lance Reddick credited in this movie and he has like one line? Poor guy. I feel like he was kind of.
They need to release the Gareth Edwards cut because he had a much bigger part in that cut.
Oh, did he?
No, there was no Gareth Edwards cut, but I'm trying to start a release the Snyder cut for Godzilla v. Kong.
Because Lance Reddick is an incredible actor. I watch him in everything. Like if I know that he's in something, it elevates what he's in.
Yeah, he's great in everything.
I've never seen him in something and gone, oh man, they could do better than that guy. That guy's a great actor. And so to have him in your movie and be in one scene in the movie, you're doing it wrong.
But there's got to be a lot of Lance Reddick on the cutting room floor. Like they don't pay him to show up and do what we got here.
Sure.
I hope not, because it's like it's wait a minute. That's it for me. I'm in and out before lunch.
We've got conspiracy theory podcast. The three of them. Yeah, there is a whole lot of that in the movie, and I get it because it's Millie Bobby Brown, so you want to put her in as much as you can. She's probably getting more butts in the seats than Coach Taylor is.
Who, by the way,
she's a bigger draw than Kyle Chandler. No way.
I do.
Oh, I do. She 100% is.
Yes, come on. Kyle Chandler doesn't even sell one kernel of popcorn.
My brother told me, he was just like, yeah, I watched Godzilla versus Kong. Kyle Chandler doesn't need to be in there at all. If you take his character completely out, it is the exact same movie.
Yes.
All he's there is just to go, okay, she's got a father, and you remember him from the previous movies. That's all. Is there anything else important he does? Nope.
That should be how they sell tickets. For $10, you see the version with Kyle Chandler. For $15, you get the version without him.
Hey, we're selling more tickets faster and faster.
And I love Coach Taylor. I think he's a great actor, but he does not need to be in this movie at all.
He contributes literally nothing.
Nothing at all. Godzilla's on a rampage. Bye.
He doesn't even call in to somebody to tell somebody or warn anyone of something that's going on. He just kind of shows up from country to country as needed, delivers a couple of lines that don't even really contribute that much to the actual plot, and then is just gone.
And also, world's worst single dad. His daughter's in Hong Kong before he realizes she's not at home.
Well, that's pretty bad. But like, where is the Josh character? Where's his parents at? Because he's along for this ride too. We never even, as far as we're concerned, those people don't even exist. What is he, Oliver Twist or something?
And I bet they're hilarious because
he said he stole the van from his brother, but it looked like a news van. I don't quite understand. Like, at least his brother should be looking for his van, even if nobody's looking for Russell from Deadpool.
Put out an APB. There's a 14-year-old on the loose with the car. It's nuts.
Is Millie Bobby Brown old enough to drive? Because she drives that van from like Pensacola, Florida to New York.
I think so. What is she? She's probably like 16 by now, right?
She is 17 years old.
Oh, there you
go. I just feel like I'm getting old because to me, she's still like literally 11, both the age and the character.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
and I don't want.
But Bruce, now we're living in a time where the 90s were 10 years ago.
And I don't dare like put in my Google history how old is Millie Bobby Brown. That just doesn't feel right. I want you guys knew how old she was.
Mr. Leslie.
At least that's what it says on that website I check every day.
Doesn't have a countdown clock. None of your business. She's fantastic though. She's just a great actress. She doesn't have anything to do.
She is a great actress. She is not fantastic in this movie. No one is fantastic in this movie.
Let me finish the sentence. I'm saying she's fantastic. She has nothing to do in this movie of any note. That was the next words that were coming out of my mouth. But a lesser actor could have done this, but it doesn't matter. She's good enough for what she is, and she does at least give us a drawback to the last Godzilla film. So there's something going on there, I guess.
Look, basically, you could replace just about everyone's dialogue, with the exception of Latino Elon Musk. You could replace everyone else's dialogue with just this sound.
Yeah, you could go full peanuts.
You would know
on
what's happening.
Yeah, I think it improves the quality of the movie a little bit.
It might. It might.
What you're saying is you want a Minions version of Godzilla versus Kong.
Well, first of all, yes. Secondly,
we had a moment. I love the bad guy's daughter is the one who she's just a giant jerk and she wants to. I'm going on this thing because my dad is doing all of this stuff and I've got to be the person who makes sure all of it goes. But they didn't go 100%. But my audience, when her ship got crushed, they almost applauded. Like you could feel people holding back because they didn't want to seem like a jerk. But everybody's like, no, hold it back. Don't be a complete jerkwad. But man, everyone was super stoked when she died. It was great.
I like her in Baby Driver, but just about everything else that woman's in, she's playing that same character.
Yeah, it's just like I'm disaffected. I don't want to be here, and I hate all of you.
I think she was in a Nickelodeon show, but I didn't watch it.
But yeah, Damian Bashir is great. He's that mustache twirling sort of bad guy and everything.
He's not great. He's not great.
Well, here's what I'm saying. When I say
he
words
is
like
suitable.
great, these are all qualifying. These are all qualified greats.
I think he could potentially be nominated for that Bruce Leslie Best Over Bad Acting Award at the end of the year.
I think so.
He's always got a giant glass of scotch with him. He's having a good time. He's just a fun, horrible bad guy. He's telling the other dude to just who I thought was a really neat idea with Mechagodzilla, having him kind of a mind meld with the pilot and everything. And of course, that's going to go wrong and go haywire and stuff. Just a super fun idea.
Sure.
Good backup. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care that I like this movie more. But
look, man, you can like whatever you like. I'm just telling you, when you keep using qualifiers like really good performance or like great bad guy, stuff like that.
For what they are, for what this movie is. Yes, they are like stupid, simple, archetypal characters. But to me, this is like what makes the ultimate just stupid, dumb American movie. And like you said, movies like Twister and ID4, these are stupid, dumb American movies. And to me, that's a genre. I mean, the Transformers movies are that way. They're not good movies, but they're a lot of fun and stuff blows up pretty good. And, at the end, I feel like I had a rip-roaring action time. And frankly, that's all I'm asking out of these things is let me have fun. Let me go on this ride.
And I think like Godzilla, King Kong movies going back to at least the 90s with that Matthew Broderick one.
Boy, when you think Godzilla and you want to go, who's going to be the leading man in this? Isn't Matthew Broderick the first one that just pops straight to the top of that list?
Sure.
What a
Bueller
weird
versus
choice.
Godzilla. But I think people have this mindset like, yeah, we know that this movie is probably not going to be good, but we kind of still want to see it anyway, because like even when it's bad, you're still only going to get Godzilla from a Godzilla movie, and there's that tradition of the beloved Toho movies or whatever, which, guy in a rubber suit stomping on. I mean, sometimes I watch those. When I had your Criterion login, Adam, I went and watched a bunch of Godzilla movies, the Japanese version with the subtitles. And sometimes it's like, oh, it is so awesome. That is literally a model car that somebody bought and put together that they threw over a very small hill into a creek, and we're pretending it's going into the like there's an appeal, like you wallow in the low quality in a positive way. Like it's even beyond so bad it's good. It's like you can't wait to see how desperate they are for their next effect.
Yeah, I mean,
I can tell you that when it comes to the Godzilla versus Kong Toho version of this, because I've seen that probably 5 times from when I was a kid, the only thing that I can really remember from it is that King Kong rips a tree out of the ground and shoves it in Godzilla's mouth, who then sets it on fire and throws it back at King Kong.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I like the silliness.
And don't get me wrong, it looks silly because that tree is about the fakest thing in the world besides King Kong's face, which is horrifying in that movie.
Horrible googly eyes practically on some of those, depending upon what era you're watching in.
My favorite moment from any Godzilla movie is that one that had Jet Jaguar in it. And there's a scene where he does like a flying double leg kick on, I think it's Megadon. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's clearly like they've got a statue with wheels in the tail that's just driving it towards the thing it's supposed to hit. I mean, it's hilariously bad. Like I'm okay with it being bad. What I don't like is when it's almost good. But like it either needs to be good or bad. I don't like where those first two Godzilla movies kind of dwelt, especially that first one was like, man, they're trying a little too hard or something.
You want your monster movies to look like the Beastie Boys Intergalactic video.
Sure. Either that or absolutely awesome. You know what I mean? Like what I don't like is that middle ground.
Yeah, and that's honestly, that's what I compared this movie to. This is just the 21st century CGI'd, overindulgent version of that. If they could have done this, in 1973, they would have done this, because it is just over the top and so unbelievably stupid. But man, when they're fighting in neon Hong Kong and everything, that is just, it's so cool. It's so fun. They're practically doing wrestling moves on each other. Somebody's almost about to DDT somebody. It's great.
Yes, that's when it starts being fun. And it's Godzilla versus Kong. They gave us 3 solid battles. None of the battles were cut short. They didn't really use any cheap tricks to get out of the fights. They wisely gave Kong a power up or two so that you could believe the fights. I think as far as like delivering what was promised, they succeeded. So I can't get like too disappointed in the movie, though. This like most movies we watch does have room for improvement. But I'm not gonna say that it was false advertising or anything.
I mean, Kong rips off a monster's head and then like drinks his blood out of his thing. That is just so awesome. And Mechagodzilla, he goes over and basically Sub-Zeros him or Scorpions him and just rips the head off with the spine dangling in there and everything. It gave you everything that you wanted. I just wish they had a giant metal chair to hit one of them with. It's close enough to that. But I love the power axe that we find there in Middle Earth and everything, and I love just calling it Middle Earth because it is what it is. Grabbing that axe and everything, I love the idea that Godzilla's laser breath goes and charges it up again. It's just stupid video game mentality, but it works, and it's dumb, stupid fun.
My favorite, but also dumbest dumb thing in the movie for me was when Godzilla just suddenly blows his radiation breath all the way down to the hollow earth. Like he could have done that at any point in time. Like, why is the earth not just like a piece of Swiss cheese at this moment?
Yeah, they don't seem to really care too much about anything. It just goes like, well, we'll just tunnel down in there. But I think even where stuff ended off, the fact that Godzilla is kind of that guardian of the sea, and if they need him, he'll come out whenever he senses some danger or some such nonsense. We had to keep Kong away, but obviously, and again, I like how we've scaled him up, because in Kong Skull Island, he is not this big. He's
never this big unless he's fighting Godzilla.
Exactly. So but they mentioned it. It's a quick, nice little throwaway line right there at the beginning. Oh, he's been growing, and now he's just too big for this habitat, so he's got to go someplace else.
Well, I mean, they've been setting up the two things they've been setting up for the three previous movies, is that Kong keeps growing. Because they even say that in Kong Skull Island that he hasn't even reached mature height yet. And then the other thing is Hollow Earth. They've been saying that since the Godzilla from whenever it was, 2014 or whenever.
Yeah.
And it's like the seeds were already there. They already knew where they were going with this stuff. So Adam, your Hollow Earth thing has been happening for a long time.
Yeah, and it's great. They deliver on that, and then plus, so Godzilla then can go back to the sea. But because if Kong was out, he would be that other alpha creature or whatever out there. So they go, nope, we need a whole new place for him. So let's put him underneath the earth, and he can actually be king of the Middle Earth and stuff. It's super. I don't know. I just liked it because it ended in such a way that we can come back to Godzilla and Kong as we need them to fight whatever other crazy nonsense that they'll surely do in the future, because this movie is making money.
So do they keep expanding? Like, I feel like now that we've had Godzilla versus Kong, you cannot have a further solo Kong or Godzilla movie. Like, if there are sequels to this, both monsters have to be in it. So do they do like a Monster Justice League, and then they bring in Mothra in the next one and try to find some more good guys like the Shogun Warriors or something? Jaguar could be primed for a comeback.
I think that's where they're going to have to go. Is they're going to have to use something like Shogun Warriors, like with Godzilla. It's the only way you can go with that, because you're probably not going to get. Well, maybe you would. There's enough money to be had here, but Kong's probably going a separate way unless it's more Godzilla versus Kong.
See, I think you probably have like another one where it's Kong, and then third act Godzilla comes in, and they have to bring him into like the Hollow Earth and stuff like that in order to fight XYZ.
Yeah, because I just don't see, as far as like mass box office success, I don't see anybody wanting to go see a solo feature after this. It's like with Marvel. Once you had the Avengers, suddenly it doesn't matter if the movie's called Ant-Man or if the movie's called Doctor Strange. There's going to be a couple of other Marvel heroes showing up, like they're all team movies now.
Maybe they do another Shin Godzilla where it's just a million different scenes of people talking.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Would be so bad.
There's a lot of that in Shin Godzilla, but you also get crazy monsters with super googly eyes looking straight at the camera, just snaking along the bottom of it's just so greatly dumb.
But you know how Hollywood works, Sean. At this point, particularly with this movie, I just checked, and it's like up to 250 million or something at a time when the box office is lagging still. They're going to say, well, there's Godzilla people and there's King Kong people, and if we're going to spend a couple $100 million on a movie, we need to capture both of those groups.
Oh, for sure.
Now, I think in reality, it's all the same people, but in Hollywood terms, they're like, so from now on, we cannot have, as long as we're paying for these licenses or whatever, we can't have just one. We got to have both to make this a true. The four quadrants are like men who love King Kong, men who love Godzilla, women who love King Kong, women who love Godzilla. That's a 4-quadrant movie.
That's it. And this movie talks to all of those people.
Yeah.
But I think we'd have like a sequel or something like Godzilla and Kong Ride Again, something like that, where it's almost like a monster buddy cop film, but they don't speak to each other.
I want to see. No, you had it there. Don't elaborate anymore. I want that monster buddy cop film.
Yeah.
Godzilla and Kong meet Frankenstein.
Yeah, something like that, where we can just, bring it. And it's Warner Brothers. Look at what Warner Brothers is doing. Did you see the Space Jam trailer? They are not afraid to shove every property that they own into one giant thing to try to get as many people to come to it as possible. So, frankly, you could see anything in this. Pennywise could show up. He's showing up in the Space Jam movie, so he's going to be here, too.
If only they could work with Universal, we could get King Kong and Godzilla and the Fast and the Furious versus The Rock.
From your mouth to God's ears, I would be all about the Fast and the Furious gang having to diffuse some sort of beef with Godzilla and Kong as well. It's not
Could you
above
imagine
me.
the size of the cars that Godzilla and Kong would drive?
Godzilla can't drive stick though. So he's got to have a paddle shifter in order for him to really be successful at that. He's amazing at drifting, though. I will say,
Yeah,
that much we definitely know. But yeah, this movie is dumb. I really enjoy the positive profiling of podcasters that we have in this movie. Makes us all seem like
oh man,
great smart people.
And not to mention, just like people buying a little too much into conspiracy theories is sort of in the public zeitgeist the last couple of years anyway. So they had a lot of fun with that.
I also
Bleach,
like how,
like out of nowhere, the Bleach obsession.
Yeah, but no one knows who he is, but he says his name on a podcast that's available to any and everyone who's willing to listen. Half of it, you just go, do you know how
difficult
this works?
it is to escape anonymity as a podcaster?
Yeah, it's a difficult thing, but at the same time, too, I don't know. It's so much stupid fun. They show up at his house, and he's just like, well, no, that's not me. No. It's like, dude, your name is on the podcast. You're not that difficult to find.
I'm Bob Jenkins at 1042 Fifth Avenue in Detroit. What? Where did you get that idea?
I was waiting for him to wear a tinfoil hat at one point. I'm really kind of disappointed that didn't happen, but, you take some.
They don't want to
good
rip off
things and bad.
signs.
That's true. All right, before we get to our final review here and everything, we do have to ask ourselves one very important question: is how does this giant monster movie relate back 1-to-1 with Sylvester Stallone?
Why, thank you, Adam. I have a prepared statement. So there's this stupid YouTube video called Rambo versus Godzilla. It's in the style of a movie trailer. It's a little under 2 minutes. It's just cut back and forth between edits of Rambo and edits of Godzilla. And it's in every single way the thing I hate most, always and ever. It's so lazy and so unfunny. I can't believe it wasn't created by us. And by us, I mean Adam.
Hey.
I hate this video. I hate this video with a fire that could run 3 coal plants. This video could make me part of the Green New Deal. I'm amazed by the number of people who have seen it, which means if Bruce saw how many, he could also fire 3 coal plants with his anger.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And guess what? It's far more successful than anything the 3 of us will ever do. And there you have it, HMPers and Dingalingers. This week's Stallone Connection is a super lame YouTube video called Rambo versus Godzilla. Adam and Bruce, this is the 349th episode of this bit, and still no word from Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, maybe one of these days. All right, here at Hero Movie Podcast, we have our own patented Robin rating system. If you'd like to check it out, head on over to our subreddit, reddit.com/r/Hero Movie Podcast. Right there at the top of the screen, Bruce, where does Godzilla versus Kong fall in the Robin rating system for you?
I mean, for me, this is a solid Damian Wayne, but that's a good thing, I think, for one of these movies. This recent cycle of 4 movies. And I think that one thing I'm going to really, really praise this movie for is you know exactly what to expect by the name. You know what you're going to get, and what you get is exactly what you pictured. So nobody's going away disappointed or anything. Nobody's also going away saying, wow, I did not know they could take this to that level. I mean, there's something to be said for, yeah, I know what I'm going to get. I get it. And that was a satisfying business transaction. It is, I think, you probably won't agree with this, Sean. I think I like this a little bit better than Skull Island. I think it's my favorite of the 4, but still just like Damian Wayne, because, there's sort of a low roof on just how good it can be.
That's fair enough. Sean?
Well, Bruce, to answer that, John C. Reilly always puts Kong Skull Island over the top for me. He's just so wonderful in that movie.
It's just insane. It's great.
He is. He's so insane. And can you see him with that little mute girl? I mean, Jesus.
That would have been so nice.
It'd be the best movie ever. This movie is it's a middle of the road movie. It is for me. It's a low Damian Wayne. I don't hate this movie by any means. I just don't think that it's the most wonderful movie ever made, and we should all heap praise upon it. I think that it's a okay movie, and it's fun, and it will put you to sleep. If you've seen it more than a couple of times, this movie is going to put you to sleep. So it's a low Damian Wayne for me.
For me, here's the thing. I agree with all of those statements that you just said. However, this is Tim Drake. I was super happy with what I got. It was it checked all the boxes except for the box that said interesting plot with human characters. But quite frankly, I wasn't anticipating that box to be checked anyhow, because most of these don't really have that. But the first Godzilla one with Aaron Taylor Johnson, the biggest problem with that is there was like 15 minutes worth of Kong in a 2-hour and 15-minute movie. It dragged along forever. And as the subsequent films have gone on, we've gotten so much more great kaiju fighting stuff that they've realized this. They've known it all along. They just didn't have the guts to really do it. But we want these guys just fighting at all of this crazy, amazing action. This delivers on that big time. And I pray one day that we'll get one that has this awesome, level of action and everything, and gives us a story that's, not completely done by like a 6-year-old who has, remedial skills at writing. To me, it's stupid and fun, but boy, that's exactly what I wanted, and that's exactly what it gave me. I can't complain too much, so it's a Tim Drake for me, getting on up there. Well, that is it, everybody. We have come to the conclusion of yet another Hero Movie podcast. Let's talk a little bit more about what we're doing next week, right after we ask Bruce, where can we find more of his work on the internet?
I want people to go check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/C/Bruce Leslie. I've got a good Flag Smasher video that went up this past Thursday. This upcoming Thursday, I'm going to have a video out about Johnny Walker and Battlestar. I'm just trying to get as much tie-in material to The Falcon and the Winter Soldier as I can during this 6-week period where that show's on. So please go check out my YouTube channel if you have not yet. I would love for you to be a subscriber.
Sean, what else?
First of all, thank you for the shout out earlier this week, Bruce, on your Flag Smasher video. Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm the sweet Shanti he was talking about.
Hey,
that's me. You can find me at Falcon and Winter Soldier 30 Questions. Please check that out, where each week we answer 30 questions about the latest episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
And it's been a hot minute, but since we're doing Godzilla and Kong, why don't you head on over to the Film Find? I'm not exactly sure when we're going to drop it, but me and my buddy Justin Mullis are going to be coming back. He's been on several episodes talking about all these big giant monster movies and stuff like that. He's super knowledgeable about all these sort of things. So me and him are going to sit down and do a podcast and release it on the Film Find and maybe get that podcast up and running like the good Lord intended. So please check that out. Join us here next week. We're going to be talking about the first 4 episodes, the first half of Invincible that is available on Netflix right now based upon the old Kirkman comics. So we'll check all that out, man. So that is it. Join us next week when we're doing all that fun stuff for Sweet Sean's and Kovacs from the internet. Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Porteous. Stay super, everybody.
Bye, Marty.
Well, south side of Chicago is the baddest part of town. And if you go down there, you better just beware of a man named Leroy Brown. Now Leroy, more in trouble. You see, he stand about 6'4". All the downtown ladies call him treetop lover. All the men just call him sir. And it's bad, bad Leroy Brown, the baddest man in the whole damn town. the ground.